The UK is now employing specialist nurses for cousin shaggers. That's right, nurses who specialise in the deformed, inbred offspring of people who shag family members. That's where the UK has got to.
The Telegraph, Daily Telegraph is reporting an NHS hospital trust has recruited a nurse to support families whose parents are close relatives. Bradford Teaching Hospital's NHS Foundation Trust advertised the position for a close relative marriage neonatal nurse and midwife. The job description said the successful candidate would provide comprehensive care and support for families who have recently had a baby and are close relatives, cousins, uncles, aunts, or other closely related family members. Now,
wow. I mean, it's probably one example where immigration is actually needed, because there's going to be nobody in England that's trained to specialise in inbred offspring, because we don't fuck our cousins. We have enough intelligence and decency to understand what happens when you make offspring with family members. And also, we're just not that depraved. Like, the idea of being intimate with a family member doesn't really appeal to us. Certainly not en masse. Okay, there's going to be one or two twisted folk, but not en masse. And you realise how much cousin shagging goes on in certain communities. Like, it's a really big thing. Like, you can really see it in the faces of a lot of them as well. Like, they are inbred, clearly. I mean, listen to this degenerate that I'm about to show you. She honestly believes, she's saying why they can marry their cousins. And it's basically because they're not a word, some made up word, something like maharam. You know, they're no longer a maharam, so basically they're no longer a member of a family once they reach adulthood. And they wear a hijab in front of each other, which means it's okay to shag. And it's all just ideology, it's all just conditioning. There's no logic, there's no common sense, there's nothing based on genetics or DNA. It's literally just like, this book says this. Oh, and our prophet, he did it. So if he did it, nothing can be questioned.
We have a question here. Can I marry my cousin? Technically, Islamically, yes, a cousin is not a mahram. So, for example, if you're a girl and you have your parents, brothers and sisters, children, their sons, they are not your mahrams, which means they're not people who, especially when they become adults, I mean, you know, obviously when you're children, you might be playing together like brothers and sisters, etc. But when you get to the age of puberty, then yes, your cousins then become your non-mahrams, which means that you have to wear hijab in front of them, you know, you have to cover in front of them, you have to have the normal etiquettes you would have in front of a man, you know, that is on the street, for example, right? Of course, they're your relatives, so you have, you know, that extra level of perhaps relationship in terms of asking after them, etc., caring about them because of, you know, the fact that you're relatives. But in terms of technically speaking, yes, a person can marry their cousins. And so the cousins are non-mahrams.
Now, funnily enough, much like many of these barbaric practices we see from this particular community in England, it's not actually in Muslim countries. You know, just like the Muslim Brotherhood is banned in any Muslim country or most of the Muslim countries, but in England it's not even a prescribed terrorist organisation. It's allowed to thrive. It's allowed to have loads of members of known terrorists working as imams. But that wouldn't actually be allowed in like the UAE.
I think you have more extremists in UK than you have in the Middle East.
Really?
At this stage, absolutely. The things that some of the Islamists say in various mosques, and we have been seeing that online, the terminology they use, the analysis they make, the statements they actually make, they would not be able to say it all the way in Afghanistan, for example, or in Iraq.
So how has this been allowed to flourish in the UK? What's your analysis of
in
that?
the name of democracy? So the Muslim Brotherhood, who are the Islamists, who are the main ones, are ruling and controlling in various press when it comes to the Muslim society and community in the UK. They control the whole narrative, and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamists are the radical Islamists. They're the Islamists, and
I think in many of these countries, again, I'm not an expert because I try and stay away from most of them, but some of them are fantastic, like Indonesia, for example. you know, this whole grape gang thing that we see in the UK, that doesn't happen out there. Like, of course, yes, there'll be the odd isolated cases, but, you know, in many of these countries, they deal with it by ending of life, the hanging, or something along those lines. Yet again, in England, we get the worst of the worst. They're here to take over. They have no respect for us, and they're just in our two-tier system. You know, Muslim countries are very strict. You can't go around I mean, maybe in Afghanistan, because Afghanistan just seems to be fucked and very, very child grapey. But, you know, in general, in a well-established Muslim country, you can't do these things. So it's like we get the retrobates that want to partake in these things. We then have a two-tier system where the police are so scared of being called racist, they'll literally hand little girls back, drunk little girls that are crying in amongst a group of Pakistani men. They'll go and hand the girls back to the Pakistani men and apologise for disturbing them because they're so scared of being called racist. Like, that's how absurd it is in our country. And that's why the worst of the worst come here, because we let them do things in our country that they won't be able to do in their own country. Oh man, it's just barbaric. I'm about to show you a fucking horrendous video of the results of cousin shagging. But it seems that these people are so carnal, so materialistic, so low in IQ, so spiritually detached, that they value the material gains and, of course, the control. Basically, the fact that you know someone and therefore you can control situations. And if you think about, you know, how they control their women, you know, it makes a lot of sense why you would want to marry within the family and keep all that control, keep all that material wealth. And, you know, when you're united with the same belief system and your goal is to take over the world and introduce Sharia law, it does actually make sense, you know, to keep everything within the belief system, keep all the assets together, keep breeding like rabbits, you know. Whilst they are fucking stupid in many ways, you know, they have a clear mission and they are working towards that mission, even if 50% of them are retarded because of, you know, DNA issues. There's so many of them, and they're all so loyal to each other, and they all have exactly the same ideology that they're willing to die for, because 72 virgins, I mean, have you ever heard anything so carnal and materialistic? Like, that's their spirituality. I'll get 72 virgins that I'll be able to fucking grape. Fucking vile. So that's the reality. It's absolutely awful, but nothing will stop them. Because they don't care, you know, they don't care about the same things we care about, you know, quality of life and decency. Like, we see that by how they treat their environment. The fact that they all have fucking old sofas outside of their houses, old fridges, trash everywhere. You know, I mean, it's just everything about them, just trash. That's basically what I think about it all. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Hit a few buttons, particularly that one and the big red one. Hit. Drop a comment, support the video, get this out there. So the reason I speak like I do is, one, because I believe it's true. But also I do go on the extreme side because we're trying to move that over to window. We're trying to come from a very libtarded, repressed place. So, you know, it's like to help that pendulum swing going right over fucking here. And whilst everything I say is true and valid, you know, I would like to be in my ideal world, I would like to be a little less extreme in my views. But we've gone so extreme the other way into the indoctrination, brainwashing, and the anti-truth of everything, and the shutting down of any sort of thought, let alone speech, through words like yeah, fuck that. I'm not having it. For the next few days, I'm going to be recording 3 videos a day, and I'm going to be releasing one in the morning at 8 AM, one at 1 PM, and one at 6 PM UK times, roughly around those times. So keep an eye out for them. I'm hoping it will help with the algorithms. We'll see. I'm going to do it for the next 3 days. So try and keep an eye out for them and watch them, please.